Well, it's been a couple weeks since we've done an MLS Power Rankings. We're through week 4. We have a larger sample size of seeing how clubs in MLS are performing. So today I'm going to give you an updated Power Rankings list. I'm going to give you my top 10 teams in Major League Soccer right now. And we've seen some very good performances by teams in what's been a highly contested season so far in 2025. But before we get into that, make sure you like this video down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. Starting at number 10, we have St. Louis City SC. Now, a lot of their fans think I hate the team because I don't give enough praise. Well, here you go. They're number 10. And so far through 2025, they are unbeaten. 2 wins, 2 draws, doing this with a new manager and Olaf Melberg. And I was a little skeptical of him because his track record in his previous stints wasn't too exciting. It wasn't very good, honestly. But he has St. Louis City playing pretty well, even though they haven't made any crazy additions. Marcel Hartel has been very, very good. Another player that I was wrong about when he signed back in 2024, and he has the team playing pretty well. It's not like this team is just beating people and scoring a bunch of goals, but they are doing enough to win 1-0 victories or getting draws. They're playing very, very well. Now, one thing that does suck for this team is that Roman Berkey had broke his hand, and Luntis came in for him for the meantime, and he played pretty well in helping them beat Seattle last week. We'll see how he's able to perform down the stretch of the season. But so far, St. Louis City has looked pretty good in 2025. They look like they are going to return to the playoffs in 2025. And we'll see what the other DPs can do in Loven and Kraus. We'll see. I'm a little skeptical still, but they are playing very well right now. St. Louis City fans have to be feeling good. A lot better than Sporting Kansas City fans, obviously, at the moment, because Sporting Kansas City currently has no wins in 2025. Complete opposite. St. Louis City SC at number 10. Now, moving on to number 9, I have FC Cincinnati. FC Cincinnati has 2 wins and 2 losses, 6 points through the 2025 season. And this is a team that has a lot of important pieces that are new to the team in Evander and obviously Kevin Danke. And they also had to play in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Now, when you have integral pieces like this who are trying to mesh, get to know their other teammates, it can take a little time to gel. And you're playing a giant like Tigres in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, a lot more games than other MLS teams early in the season. You can see a little bit of the fatigue and all the extra matches they've had to play. So they're not firing on all cylinders right now, but you can see what they possibly can be down the stretch. Now, I am a little disappointed in Pat Noonan through the 2025 season because there's a couple things I think he could have done better. Some adjustments throughout the games, especially in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, maybe a couple substitutions, maybe a little bit better time management for his key players. Feel like he kind of played Evander and Danke a little too much if they're wanting to advance. But you see what they can be, especially if Orshano gets right back into the fold and starts gelling with these other guys. I mean, and they have really good depth. Now, the back line is a little bit of a concern. We'll see what happens when they get Matt Miazga back, but there's a couple deficiencies to this team, but I feel pretty good about what they can be, and they still are playing pretty well. It's not like they're a complete disaster, but they're not as good as they possibly can be at the moment. So I have FC Cincinnati at number 9. At number 8, I have Minnesota United. They have 2 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss this year, 7 points. And Eric Ramsey, the youngest coach in MLS history, 32 years old, was a former set piece manager at Manchester United, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of people are skeptical about what he could do in Major League Soccer. Has came in here, really turned things around for Minnesota, even though they were doing well last year before he took over. But he's continued the success. He's better than Adrian Heath. And it really starts with their star DP, Kelvin Yeboah, who has been very, very good since he came to Major League Soccer last summer in 2024. You can just see that this team plays very hard. They are a gritty team that maybe a lot of people don't watch or know a lot about. Dane St. Clair, very, very good underage goalkeeper. Minnesota United plays exciting ball, and I know that they just, gave up and I know that they let Sporting Kansas City, who's probably the worst team in the league, come back when they were up 3-0 and get a draw in this game. but they are a very, very good team. It's just a weird, weird situation in that match. Minnesota United is very competitive in a team that you should keep an eye on and could be dangerous. That is a team that I would keep an eye on in 2025. Now, moving on to number 7, we have New York City FC. This is a team that's owned by City Football Group, Manchester City sister club, and they seem to always underperform based on the expectations of what an ownership group like that would have. And I think it stemmed from Nick Cushing being a bad manager. Well, Nick Cushing got fired last year because he underperformed and was subpar. They replaced him with English manager Pascal Janssen. They got 2 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss so far. Sold their best player in Santiago Rodriguez to Botafogo at the beginning of the season on opening day, and they're playing lights out. Alonso Martinez has been balling. Matt Freese is a great goalkeeper. Julian Fernandez is playing well. This team, it feels like, finally has a manager who can open things up and get the most out of the talent they have, which is scary because they have a lot of talent on this team. I'm going to be very curious to see what New York City FC does in 2025 for the rest of the season. And I think that they could be a sleeper to really compete for the cup in 2025. And Pascal Janssen could be a dark horse to win MLS Coach of the Year, honestly. I think they're playing exciting, competitive ball, and that's a team to watch out for. New York City, I have at number 7. At number 6, I have the Columbus Crew. Now, if you've been following this channel for a while, you know how I feel about Wilfried Nancy. Probably, well, we'll talk about another manager here in a little bit, but that is competing with him. But he is one of the best managers, if not the best manager in Major League Soccer. And right now, he is playing without his best player because they sold his best player, Cucho Hernandez, to Real Betis, and he is still finding a way to win. 2 wins, 2 draws, 8 points in the 2025 season so far. Unbeaten. One of the 6 teams or 7 teams still unbeaten in Major League Soccer right now. And it's Diego Rossi, one-man show doing it. Watched the game this past weekend, and it felt like Rossi was just everywhere, doing everything. You could see the exhaustion on him because he would have to put all that effort in and then not see a payoff in the final third. But this is a team that once they get a DP replacement for Cucho Hernandez, you see what they can be. And they're still good right now, competitive, very, very competitive. And once they get that player, I really do think they will be an MLS Cup contender again because of how well they're playing, even without Cucho Hernandez. 8 points, 2 wins, 2 draws. That is how many teams in the world could sell their best player, MVP runner-up in 2024, and still be able to perform at a high level and be unbeaten in their first 4 matches. I think it's an incredible job. We talked about Pascal Janssen being a contender for the MLS Coach of the Year. Have to put Wilfried Nancy in that discussion as well. What he's doing is incredible. Columbus Crew is a great team, obviously. I have them at number 6. Now at number 5. Now this is a sleeper team. This is a team that I wasn't high on because they didn't do good last year. They got rid of their coach, and I didn't think that just adding a coach would be enough to change the dynamics and make this team significantly better. But here we are. Number 5, we have the Philadelphia Union. 3 wins, 1 loss, 9 points. Now, Bradley Cardinale obviously proved a lot when he was St. Louis City SC's coach in 2023 when he finished first in the Western Conference as an expansion team. This Philadelphia team is pretty much the same as it's been the last couple of years, add or give or take a couple pieces, but their core, Kai Wagner, Andre Blake, Gazdak, Michael Ua. There are a lot of pieces on the team that have been there for a lot of years, and sometimes that's a bad formula in MLS because you need to, or just soccer in general, you got to add pieces. You got to always be improving your team if you want to compete. But they are improving this year, and Ty Baribo has 5 goals in 4 matches. He's been playing very, very well for the Philadelphia Union in 2025, and a big reason why they are having so much success. So I have them at number 5. I want to see a little bigger sample size before I put them up in the top 3. But if you're a Philadelphia Union fan, you have to be feeling good about this season, especially after last year's blunder. And I think that they could potentially return to that 2022 form when they were the runners up in the MLS Cup final against LAFC. But we know that the Eastern Conference is an absolute brawl, and it's going to be tough to be the last one standing. But Philadelphia Union look really good, and there's not a lot of complaints I have for this club in 2025. At number 4, we have San Diego FC. San Diego FC has 2 wins and 2 draws, unbeaten expansion team. Now, that is a very impressive feat because if you watch Major League Soccer, or maybe if you're new to Major League Soccer, I'll explain this to you. It's hard to win as an expansion team. You have all these players who have never played together on one team. It's unique, right? MLS is obviously different than any other league in the world. What other league in the world could have 25 new players never played with each other before until the season, right? This upcoming season. Very, very rare circumstances, and they are playing very well under Mikey Veras, who I was a little bit concerned about because he doesn't have any first team manager experience. But I tell you what, Anders Dreyer, he's got to be up there in the MVP discussion right now. He is a top 5 player in Major League Soccer right now. The dude just makes plays. He creates chances. He's fast. He's pacey. He can score. He is incredible. He is incredible. He has probably been my favorite signing this offseason in Major League Soccer, and I think he's the best player on that team. I think that he is more important to San Diego FC than Chucky Lozano. And they will go as far as Anders Dreyer will take them in 2025. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to make some noise. And this summer, they're going to be active. And they might get a certain Belgian legend midfielder to really tie things together. And also Luca De La Torre has been very good, and Annabelle Godoy. They've had some good pieces, and they've been competing. This team is definitely one to keep an eye on, and I think that they've made some serious noise in their first year. Okay, at number 3, now this has definitely been a surprise. We have the Vancouver Whitecaps. Everybody predicted this, right? No, but Jesper Sorensen came in here, unknown coach. Most people didn't know who he was, and have a perfect record. They have the best record in Major League Soccer right now. There's a couple teams that are undefeated, but they're the only team who's undefeated who doesn't have a loss or a draw. 4 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws. Jade Nelson. When Jade Nelson played for Toronto FC a couple years ago, I thought he was really good. He played a lot when they first signed Lorenzo Insigne and Federico Bernardeschi. And Bob Bradley's last year, I think it was his second year. He wasn't there long. Either way, Bob Bradley disaster, right? Either way, Jade Nelson was playing with that team, and he looked so good. He honestly looked like the best player on the pitch at most times. Then he goes to Europe. He comes back, goes to Vancouver, and he's balling out. He looks like they're one of their best players. And then Brian White is obviously reliable, got the call up to the U.S. men's national team. This team is scary. And I want to see a little bit more before I put them at number 1. I want to see them be battle tested against a really good team, an elite team in MLS, because they haven't played a really, really good team yet. But right now, if you're a Vancouver Whitecaps fan, you could not be more excited. This is a very exciting team in 2025. Now, moving on to number 2, we have no other than Charlotte FC. 2 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. Now, they made a big move this offseason in signing Wilfred Zaha to a team that was very, very defense-oriented, and that was thanks to Dean Smith. Dean Smith is a great manager. Lucky to have a Major League Soccer, and I think when I mentioned earlier about Wilfred Nancy being the best manager in MLS, this is the guy that's giving him a run for his money. It's Dean Smith. Dean Smith is very good, and when you had a defensively sound team like they did last year and having goalkeeper of the year and Kalina, and then Patrick Ajimong was coming into his own last year up front, and Abada on the wing and Westwood in the midfield, you just needed a piece. They were one piece away from just unlocking everything. And that was Wilfred Zaha. And you see the difference he's making on the pitch already. This is a serious team. This is a team that could beat any team in the league and win MLS Cup. Charlotte is the real deal. And they've probably had the hardest schedule in Major League Soccer so far in 2025. They've had the hardest schedule. They've had to play all good teams: Atlanta, Cincinnati, Miami. They've had to play a plethora of good teams. So this is a team to keep an eye on. This is a team that can win MLS Cup. Very exciting team. A lot of people doubted them. We'll see what they can do for the remainder of the 2025 season. But as of now, I have him at number 2 in MLS. Now at number 1, drum roll please. Big surprise, Inter Miami. Now, Inter Miami is very interesting. Messi's been out. He's been out a couple games with injuries or workload management or load management, whatever you want to say. And no Messi, no problem. Luis Suarez has been the best player on this team in 2025. Noah Allen playing very good at center back. Surprise, right? Looked very good. Tadio Allende looking very, very good. Talasco Segovia looking very good. And I honestly think, and this might get me in trouble and people might disagree with this, but I honestly think that Inter Miami might be the best team in North America. And we're going to find out soon when they play in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. They play the next round against LAFC. We'll see what they can do. But I think they might be the best team in North America. Liga MX or MLS or any of the Central American teams. This team has it all. Depth, quality, chemistry. And honestly, I think Javier Mascherano has been a hell of a coach this year. A lot of people were questioning if that was the right move to fire Tata Martino after he set the MLS record for 74 points in a season. But here's the thing, folks. It looks like Javier Mascherano might break that record 1 year after Tata Martino set it. Hasn't lost a game yet. 10 points through 4 games. Needs 65 points to break the record. Has 30 games left to do it. Team looks really, really good. And I honestly don't know if anybody can beat them. Now, they obviously had to slip up last year in the playoffs. That was a weird thing. But if Messi's healthy, with everything they've added this offseason, this team is a real deal. They're number 1, clear-cut best team, and I think they're even the best team in this region. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. Who are your top 10 MLS teams right now through the first 4 weeks? Or hell, give me your top 5. Let me know down below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of my videos. Until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.